We worked for the Florida brewery as a manager. This Florida brewery opened the Columbia Saloon on December 17, 1903. It was across the street. What took place that day was the Wright Brothers, all 12 seconds of flight.
Same day?
Same day. And then it burned down, they moved across the street. And through the difficult times of World War I, World War II, the Spanish flu, etc., everybody was closing one by one. People would think that life was easy. What I realized is every 25 years, our families faced a challenge that most would give up. And every 7 years, there's a challenge that will make things difficult. So I documented it in the book over 100 years, and I told my daughters, I pray to God that I'm here to help you with that challenge. What happened? COVID. But because of the history, I learned that you had to be prepared.
Today's episode of The Bay Builds is an honor because I'm sitting down with someone whose name is woven into the DNA of Tampa Bay. Richard Gonzmart isn't just the owner of the Columbia Restaurant Group. He's a storyteller, a historian, a preservationist, a fourth-generation leader carrying a 120-year legacy on his shoulders and somehow doing it with heart, humor, a little mischief, and a whole lot of passion. He's protected Tampa's history, built spaces where generations have celebrated life's biggest moments, and quietly shaped the city in ways most people will never fully see. Today, we're not doing the usual interview. We're going deeper into legacy, loss, resilience, and the stories behind the stories.
I was just reviewing photos from the 50s and 60s, and they brought them to me. And I'm the last person that could identify those people. And I see a gentleman that worked for us until he was 83 years old. He worked for us 50-some years. Station 6, most professional person I ever knew. He would never write down an order, would always carry it on his arm. And his son told him, "You should retire, Dad. You're 83, you had your second pacemaker." And I found a picture of my dad with his father, with his son, and sitting at that table where he works.
Oh my goodness.
So when I went looking through all these photos, it brings back so many stories and things, and how he knew his customers. What Mr. Woodford, the president of Tampa, had for dinner and what he drank. It's a different era.
Right. No, exactly. And that's the thing I think is that the era is like, I feel like there's not too much time left to document it. And I really think it is like so beautiful.
My concern is AI is really important, but it takes people to make your difference.
Right, especially in hospitality, right?
Yeah, so AI can help us with our ordering, our preparations and certain things, but it doesn't take the place of a person.
Exactly. So that's what I want to do today is everyone knows.
I'm hoping I'm having a good day where I talk clearly and my mind is not that roulette wheel that's rolling around here.
So I'll just ask questions, but you tell me whatever you want to tell me, okay? So what would be like a Gonzmart family story that never really makes it into the speeches that you think we should all know?
I don't think that people realize what it takes to run a business, especially a family business. You would think that I'm being the fourth generation, that life's easy. But no, it's not. You have to think of my great-grandfather who left his native country of Cuba with 4 young sons not speaking the language, looking for an opportunity. We worked for the Florida brewery as a manager. This Florida brewery opened the Columbia Saloon on December 17, 1903. It was across the street. What took place that day was the Wright Brothers, all 12 seconds of flight.
Same day?
Same day. And then it burned down, they moved across the street. And through the difficult times of World War I, World War II, the Spanish flu, etc., everybody was closing one by one. And one day during the Great Depression, we had $12 in sales, and my grandfather tells his best friend, Gregorio Martinez, another day like that, we'll have to shutter the restaurant. Well, Gregorio came back the next day with what I understood was his life savings of a lot of money, $500. My grandfather didn't take it. He understood that so many families that worked for us and so many families that didn't have jobs depended on us to help them and give them food. And with a handshake, he borrowed $25,000 to build the first air-conditioned dining room in Tampa. And his partner, his brother-in-law, refused to do that, and he sold his interest. And my mom would tell me when she was 15 years old that she heard him talking to his wife, my mother's mother, that if it didn't work, he'd have to blow his brains out. He built a dining room though, so now women and their husbands could come celebrate, complete with entertainment. You know, people would think that life was easy, but he was a pioneer and had the courage to move forward and understanding the importance of that. And it comes along with the urban renewal government that's going to revitalize Ybor City. They bought the homes from all the people. They moved them to the suburbs, Brandon, Forest Hills. And with that, every business closed except the Columbia restaurant, the bank, and Segunda Central. The homes were torn down and vacant. And along with that, the restaurant fell on hard times again. My grandfather, Casimiro Hernandez Jr., had a heart attack, and my dad was a traveling musician. He had an orchestra, along with my mom, who's a Juilliard concert pianist graduate. And then she came to help. And so what they did was they built a room in 1958 called the Siboney. It was a Cuban tribe that had died off through the conquistadors and peaceful tribe. And they built a showroom to do entertainers from all around South America and Central America. And innovative, they had Channel 8 broadcasting it from there.
Oh, wow.
Trying to get people to come in. So, you know, you've had all different challenges. What I realize is every 25 years, our families face a challenge that most would give up. And every 7 years, there's a challenge that will make things difficult. So I documented it in the book over 100 years. And I told my daughters, I pray to God that I'm here to help you with that challenge. What happened? COVID. But because of the history, I learned that you had to be prepared and you had to show strength. We were financially stable and ready to be able to do that. And we fed the equivalent of 9,000 meals a week to our staff weekly.
How did you do that?
We kept people working. And they would come to pick up the food. And they'd take it home. When things got really challenged in that you couldn't find toilet tissue, negotiating with our group that we work with, a 127-year-old company called Gordon Food Service, we also made that available. Some people say, well, that's stupid. Well, it's not stupid if you don't have toilet tissue. So we did that. What we did when my grandfather told me when business was slow or difficult, he would start painting the walls to give our staff confidence and to give the community confidence that everything was going to be okay. So the measure I took during COVID was, we're going to start working. We spent $350,000 on a new dish room. We expanded it. We changed the roof in St. Augustine. We did renovations in San Key and also in Sarasota. Some would question that. And within my financial world of my company, we're questioning it. We have to show everybody everything's going to be fine. And what had happened to me, I'm a person of great faith. On March 1st or 2nd, I received the largest distribution check ever that I've received. Put it in my drawer. COVID was kind of something you heard about and didn't know. I'd been in the Dominican Republic on December 8th or 10th, visiting Carlito Fuente Cigars. And I think it's March 22nd when we closed, I gave the check back. Because it's not about me, and I refused to take pay for that year. Because you had to help the people that really needed the help. So you talk about challenges, you think they got the golden spoon. The golden spoon is only made possible by the staff that support us, serve our community, and the community that support our family business.
When you've had such loyalty of your staff for so many long-term people.
It's an emotional thing for me. I think of a young man that my dad took under his wings at the age of 15 years old, a high school dropout juvenile delinquent. Had been arrested, nothing serious, stupid things. And he said, are you ready to change your life? And he did. And he brought him in and he worked at night as a porter and he worked through the different things. He started working on his GED. He started learning how to be a butcher, electrician, and so forth. And he ended up being the general manager of the Columbia restaurant. He worked for us for 64 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And he would not take a vacation. And my father forced him on a vacation. And after 3 days in Miami, he said he got bored. He came back to work. You can't make that story up.
No, it's incredible.
And if you look, if you go into the kitchen at the Columbia at lunchtime, there's, I think, 7 people there today that have been with us over 30 years. We had a dishwasher work 52 years. And we tried to promote him. He didn't want to, and he put his children through college. When you're there that many years, we keep on increasing the salaries. I started looking at it. It's okay. They lead the way. I'm very proud that of the close to 1,800 employees that we have, 23% have been with us over 10 years. And you have to understand, Eulalie's only 11 years old. So it's family. So I was told one time that I can't hug people by my attorney. You can't hug people. I said, what do you mean I can't hug people? Well, because harassment. Well, I'm not harassing anybody. And I told a young server, that name's Luisa from Colombia, she's been with me 13 years. So, Luisa, I've been told I can't hug you anymore. And she starts cursing at me. She said, what do you mean? You don't want to? And she hugs me. So every morning when I go into the kitchen to see the staff at 7 and 7:30, I hug the women, I hug the men. And you call them by name. I'm nobody. I'm born into this family that have made the opportunity possible for others to realize a life that they could provide for their children. And when you see these people that haven't had college education put their children through school, through the university, and becoming architects or engineers, and even a doctor. So my mom started a not a Hispanic scholarship program at USF 31 years ago. That first person went on to become a medical doctor. She's at UCLA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My first scholarship was Julio Rodriguez. My mom told me I had to do it. I wasn't really in this situation. You're going to provide for him, and I'm going to take care of her sister, Maria. The father was a migrant worker, died in the fields, and a mother, single mother. And they went to Brandon High School. Julio graduated with a 4.0 in engineering, his sister, the top senior. She went to New Mexico Nuclear Energy, and he with GE Aeronautical. Today, they have their own scholarship. So what we're here to do is help make people's dreams come true. I ask any young person when I see them working in the kitchen or washing dishes, what do you really want to do? Well, I want to be a server. Do you want to be a server the rest of your life? It's a great job, but so I try to encourage them to do something else, and many stay with us. And just like Caroline O'Connor, who's a junior working with us as a bartender at Cha Cha Coconuts, 1995, and she came to the Columbia when we moved out of Harbor Island because Harbor Island had closed up. And she was afraid to go there because it had been a union restaurant, and along came other positions. She got her degree in HR. She's been with me 35 years, head of our catering. She's like a daughter to my wife and I. You have Tony Roca and these people that came over, and their children are going through schools and graduating. So what makes me proud is to see that we've helped families' dreams come true. When you do that, well, that's my dream. It's how do you help others, and that's what makes it all worthwhile.
So you're talking about when you walk in the Columbia at 7:30 in the morning.
I work at 6:30 or 7. 7:30 is later. I get to work at 6 or 5:30.
So I imagine you're the one turning the lights on.
No, I don't have a key to any of our restaurants.
But when you get there, just picture this for a second. If you were walking in and you were the first one in one day, turning lights on, what are the sights, the smells? What takes you back? Like, what is the thing that that you feel?
You know, when I see our delivery truck coming in from Gordon Food Service at 6, and I try to go meet that driver, and the family's committed like we are. If I see some of the deliveries from local seafood coming in, I go to see what the product is, to care about it, to know. When I go in to talk about the Cuban sandwiches, when the bread come in from Segunda Central, they had been supplying us bread since 1911. It's important that Cuban sandwich has to be done a special way. And we go through that. And I just let them know when I check to taste the ham or the pork and the slice thickness, they know I care. If I care, they care. If I didn't care, why should they?
Right.
So it's when I go in there, I'm looking at what they're doing and preparing and checking the product that's coming in. I just have to show an interest. Biggest thing I do is today I was trying eggs 3 different ways. I was trying a Spanish omelet. I was trying a tortilla gallega. I was trying eggs malagueña because I wanted to make sure, because I didn't think we were following the standards that I remember as a child. They were cooking it in a different method. I started cooking in the restaurant when I was 12 years old.
Was that your first job in the restaurant?
Yeah, my first job was when I was 3.5 years old. I walked into the kitchen on Friday nights. My mom would go there to eat fish, and I walked in and went to this cooler where the whole fish were there, live blue crabs. And I saw their heads and their eyes, and they scared me. And I turned around, and our chef, Sarapico Perez, he's laughing at me. My grandfather says, "¿Qué te pasa, muchacho? What's wrong with you, kid?" I said, "The fish are going to bite me." He says, "You're going to come in here with me now. You're going to look in the eyes. It should be clear." And he opens up the gill, should be dark red and moist. And I want you to get your finger and touch the flesh on the outside. And every Friday when you come, I want you to tell me if the fish are fresh. I really felt that was my job. And then till the day that I went in and there were no heads and I was crying. Now they say, what's wrong? They said, well, they cut off all the heads and I can't tell. And everybody laughed at me. And this is true. And they took me to the back where they had a stock pot. And they would put the bones and the heads in there to make the chicken stock, or the seafood stock, excuse me. So that door, although it's not a cooler, we have a new state-of-the-art kitchen. That door exists. And every day I walk by that door, I remember that lesson by my grandfather. I have a picture of that chef that laughed at me, working right where he would, looking at that door. And so that's the way my brain is. And when I walk through that restaurant, it depends where I am. I can tell you who sat at this table or that table, what happened this day or that day. I could show you the table where Marilyn Monroe was with Joe DiMaggio, even though I wasn't born, I was told. I could tell you all these things that my daughter understands, and I'm teaching my nephew. You can't take the credit for that, which was done by others.
So, like, on that, with that legacy that you were just saying, like, what do you feel is harder, like protecting the legacy or not being trapped by the legacy? Like, how do you describe that?
I didn't want to be the generation that blew it. And I actually inherited a broken company after my dad had died. He had left a chief financial officer, and a nice person, but he couldn't get us information. And so that was that challenge I faced that everybody said I wouldn't make it through.
And what year was that? How long ago was that?
1995. I could go through and tell you every instance and every person. I went to go talk to every vendor, had to speak to the state of Florida, tax income, because we hadn't paid sales tax, I found out. I'm brutally, brutally honest. When you're honest, people will believe you and they'll trust you. I had to fly down to Miami to go see Henry Lee. Ed Sternly, been the owner, had about 11 guys in suits. I found out we owed him $778,000. And I asked him to give me credit for 3 years, and I would pay it off and I'd stay current. What do we have to lose? Well, 36 months, I flew down there, sent the last check. The Columbia Board was in foreclosure. We were being evicted in Sarasota. Now I own that building in Sarasota. I have no mortgage. I don't have a mortgage at Eulalie, Santo Stefano. I make this family live within a salary range, and we don't use it as our personal ATM. We take care of our staff and our management first. Afterwards, if there's money left over, we get something. Mm-hmm. And so that's my philosophy.
So if you could sit in that original 1905 cafe with your great-grandfather, what would you thank him for and what would you challenge him on?
I thank him for the opportunity, that vision, that courage to come from Cuba, to open a bar for 24 hours a day for the men and women walking to work and back home after work, a place where the men have a cup of coffee and maybe a beer and a sandwich mixto, a Cuban sandwich known today. It took a lot of courage, and I thank him for that. And so the responsibility I have is, everybody wants to be a president, CEO. Then I realized there's very few people that have the opportunity that I have, being a fourth generation caretaker, and that's the title I carry. And more important, I'm the father of the fifth generation. My daughter Andrea was the first female to ever work in the kitchen.
Really?
Really.
What was her job?
She's cooking. She's washed dishes. She's done everything. She started at the age of 10 in bookkeeping. Her grandma, my mother, would be very proud of her. The courage she has and the desire and the drive, the care for people, the arts. Great cook. So my job is to hand the keys to that next generation, which she's doing more and more each day. So I know our company will be in great hands because she knew her grandparents and what their drive was. And it's not just to care about us, but to care about your community and caring to give others opportunity.
So was there like a only in Tampa moment you remember happening inside the restaurants? Anything that you can think back to?
There are too many.
Tell us some.
Oh my gosh. You see the celebrities come in. We don't take pictures with celebrities, and we try to respect them, but you have certain moments that certain things happen. I can remember at Table 21, Saturday night at the night parade, Sonny Bono's eating a bowl of Spanish bean soup. a cup with a big spoon, and a woman, I won't mention her name because her grandchildren are alive today. She comes behind, starts choking. I was like, you gotta stop. I could tell you at table 23 when Jay North, who was Dennis the Menace, was there, and George Howe from Tampa was at that table. But Dennis was blonde on TV. He was dark haired. At table 52 on my 40th birthday at a surprise party, Joel Gray and Liza Minnelli were there, and they joined the party. And I could tell you that the day Tony Kubek was here, I could tell you the day that I sat Santo Trafficante at table 104. He told me I don't want anybody near me because they're talking business. He's the head of the mafia. And a few minutes later, I'm 21 years old. A gentleman comes in by himself. I sit him at table 62. I said, I don't like that table. What is it at this table? Table 94. He's holding the paper. Mr. Trafficante comes to get me at the front door. I said, I didn't want anybody near me. That's the FBI. So when I sit down with you to meet, we sit at 104. This day I tried to learn to listen. It was a fun story. He was a nice person, great customer, but you had to understand. So that was the story. You have the wine. We have a wine that we created remembering the days of Bolita, which was kind of what it with the lottery. And the Sicilians, the mafia would sell this lotteries of balls, and they'd pull them out, and they'd do a code on a television show, and they'd tell you what the numbers were. So we have a wine named Bolita that's just come out of the balls, and it's 1905. And I'm partnering with David Finney, who's a friend of mine. He was the creator of Prisoner and Orange Swift Wines, and it's the first time he's ever made a private label wine. It's coming from the Catalan region of southern France. We're just releasing it. So I'm honoring those memories of the people I know that sold Bolita to try to make a living to provide for their families.
So that, oh my goodness.
I've got to watch some of the stories.
No, now I feel like that's whatever one you just thought of is what I want to know.
Yeah, I can remember though in the cafe, there was a certain room, and my dad always said, these are all the good people. You never want to owe them a favor. And they would sit at a certain table, and one guy was on the payphone. There was a payphone there, and I'd see him throw all these numbers up in the air. He was a bookie. And he had lost the bet, I guess. And then I can remember my sophomore year at Jesuit High School, that the front page of the Tampa Tribune, I see all these faces and these names. My goodness, I know all those people. So, it wasn't that they were bad people. They just did things that were, I guess, against the law.
So,
I shouldn't tell you these stories.
You're not saying their names. So you've fought so hard to save so much of Tampa history separate from the restaurants. Is there anything you wish you could go back and rescue that weren't able to save, or that was before your time, or anything like that?
I really fulfilled basically most of my dreams and things I didn't think would be possible. And I will never give up trying. Kind of my grandfather and father felt they were Don Quixote, that person that thought they were a knight fighting windmills, chasing that dream, and I'll never stop. I mean, my dreams, I've accomplished everything that anybody in the family wished we could have done. But there's more things that we can do. So my commitment has been at children and education. I've been supporting the DePaul School for Dyslexia, kindergartens through 8th grade, because I know what it was to be a child, not to have that. Until 43, I was diagnosed, and when I go there and see what they're doing, they're not academically challenged. They really have a gift that they just didn't know how to teach them. So when I go there and I see what they're doing for children, it's great. When I see that in sarcoma, adolescent young adult sarcoma, the number 2 cause of cancer in children, that we're saving lives, we're saving limbs. The first surgery of its sort to save a young girl named Jocelyn Calderberg from Iowa. We flew her down, we saved her shoulder and elbow were chrome and a titanium rod. She's 9 years old, using her hand, and about 4 years ago at the Magnolia Ball for Moffett, she played the piano.
Oh my goodness.
So, and the reason that's important to me, when I was 12 years old, I had a friend named Marty Lala, and I had homing pigeons. My mom said he was very sick. He had leukemia. Back then, it was a 100% chance you're going to die. When he died, it impacted me more until I was 40, I could express it. But today, 92.8% children can live.
Wow.
So I'm committed right now to adolescent young adult, and through my dog, Rusty, and my daughter's dog, Enzi, we have wines. We've funded cancer research for a vaccination that went through clinical trials in mice, dogs, and now is in a clinical trial for children. It would reduce this sarcoma, this cancer, so they could surgically remove it without having to amputate. And that's working.
Wow.
So I made a commitment out to Tampa General, and they're naming the Adolescent Young Adult Sarcoma Cancer Center after me. I don't want them to do that. But I support Moffitt and I support Tampa General because together we can make a difference. And my motto is that none of us are as strong as all of us. If I can encourage others.
Absolutely, to encourage others. Absolutely.
And I understand that. I understand the gentleman that had the highest respect for Mr. John Sykes. Oh, gosh, I love that man. He told me you have to put your name on things, not for yourself, to encourage others. And I think about it probably every day. It's people like that. And I hope that I can be that person to help other young people. So at Jesuit High School, 20 years ago, they sent me my 4-year transcripts. I called them. I said, "Is this blackmail?" It was terrible. I think they made it better because I was being recruited to play football in schools. But it was okay. So I keep it on my desk for children that are struggling with school. And dyslexia, I said, look, the new administration building, they named after me. They put my trophies and stuff. But I told them that to put my report card there. So to me, that's meaningful.
For sure. If students could see that and to see, what you've accomplished, and I think that's actually really important to know that, like, just because school may not be for you, it doesn't mean necessarily that you can't be wildly successful.
I turned down scholarships to Michigan State, to Minnesota, Florida State, Miami, et cetera, to play football because I said I struggled. They were going to make me study PE. My sophomore year, I decided I went to go to the University of Denver, great restaurant school, and I stayed 2 years. I left. The very first class was Douglas Keister, the head of the restaurant school. First thing he ever said to any of the students was, if you're counting the amount of hours a week you're working, go find something else to do. And then Lou Lay, another business, it's okay to make a mistake as long as you don't commit the same mistake. So those 2 years there, they've now called me. They're giving me an honorary doctorate degree, and they want me to give the commencement speech. Did y'all look at my transcripts? I don't know why, but I look at that. I think education is really, 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 really important. And I really suggest that you try to go through 4 years, but if you're struggling, you have to understand your education never stops.
Right.
So I wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. That's when I read. I had a priest, Father Peter Rogers, tell me I should wake up at 4 in the morning in high school. What do you mean wake up at 4? But I think about that today. So, if you learn and you never stop trying to learn, you can succeed, and not to be afraid. Like Thomas Edison said, I've made 10,000 mistakes. Yeah, but you'll learn from those mistakes. You can't be afraid to make a mistake. You can't be afraid to not try.
Well, on that note, is there anything that you wish you could have done differently or still want to do in a new way?
Well, when my dad was alive, I was working under him, and I was able to change things, and he didn't understand food so much. I had to convince him that the trends had changed from using canned vegetables, which were a luxury in the 40s and 50s. And I started going to the market and buying vegetables at the Hillsborough Market at 5 in the morning, delivering them myself in a truck, and I bought a truck. I bought a truck to do that. It was making a difference. So, I've been able to do things. My dad would support me. It's just taken me longer. I've been preparing my daughters and my oldest daughter is not with the company this time. She's been a wonderful mother for her, but I know it's in great hands. And was there anything else? I guess maybe I would have tried to make more time to spend with my wife and my children. I'd see my children, I'd drop them off to school at 7:30, and I might come home for a little bit of lunch, but I'd go back to work. I'd stay to work until midnight or 1 or 2. So I think I should have given my wife more time. So I met my wife when she was 13, I was 15. We danced, but we didn't talk. And then on May 28th, I met her when she was 14, I was 16. And I married her when she was 18, I was 20. We've been married now 52 years.
Congratulations. What's your secret to that?
It's a commitment, love. You can't be afraid to love. But I think I was working more than the time, and she was understanding. So at this time right now, part of my transition is to take more trips with her, allow my daughter and nephew to make decisions. And when they ask me, I said, just make a decision. Do what you want.
Mhm.
And they think I'm saying that in a bad way. Just try it. It's not going to be fatal.
Well, tell us the story that I was lucky enough to hear that time about the doorway and the note.
It was 1979. I think it was November. I can't remember the exact date that we closed up this one side door because of the traffic coming in there. We were trying to change the ambiance. And when I decided to reopen that door in that area, open the windows again to have a better view, there was a key in the lock. And on the door, hammered in, was a note from my dad telling me the day he did this. And he says the date that it happened under his administration, he says, know that I love you and miss you. Love, Dad. So I have that business card in a glass frame in my office. I look at it every day. I look at the plate that my dad had made in Spain. It says, que no te olvides que el ojo de dueño engorda el caballo. Never forget that the eye of the owner will fatten the horse. So he gave me two of them, one for the door going out. So I try saying that if you as an owner don't watch over your business, why should anybody else? You have to make sure the things are being followed the way instructed. So it's something that I look at in those memories of my dad, that business card that's there.
Well, he knew you would take that door down, or the wall down, I guess.
I figured that the door would go and there was a key in it to get a locksmith. It's amazing. So I mean, there's so many things that I have next to my desk, a picture of my dad when he was 5 years old, large picture. And I think, what was that young boy's dream? What were they? Did he able to succeed? No, he wasn't able to do those things, but I was able to succeed and surpass what he thought was possible. I have a picture of my grandfather where I remember sitting in that brand new dining room, the Cibonet in 1958 with a cigar, with the food, and I knew him. Even though I was only 7 when he passed away, he taught me so much. Truly blessed to have had that opportunity to live within a family. And while they would speak to me in Spanish, I would answer in English because I thought I speak English. My Spanish is, when I go to Spain, they think I'm from Cuba. So that's better than thinking I'm an American.
So if someone who's never met you tells a story 50 years from now, what do you hope that they're talking about?
I hope to show that I was a caring, concerned person that tried to make the world a little better for others that weren't so fortunate, to help get an opportunity to go to get a great education. Every child deserves to be able to have a great education. It's a shame if they can't because of funding, and that's just wrong. So I think today within high schools and colleges and different, I have probably 40 scholarships. And that's what makes me proud when you get those notes and you see. That's the best gift anybody could ever want. You know, the efforts, the satisfaction of all those efforts in making the world better is what I hope people will say that I tried my best to do.
You've lived so many lives, right? As a restaurateur, historian, philanthropist, protector, caretaker. Which do you think defines your legacy the most?
Well, you don't know that I'm a rock star.
Wait, what?
I was in a rock and roll band, and today I play with a band
What?
on occasion called the Lint Rollers.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yes, I play guitar, and I put on the whole wigs and that, the black tap and all that, and I was playing with my friends in second grade, Joey Donovan, and we were playing for the American Marine Institute for Kids, and I helped. And at the very end, I said, I'm going to jump off the stage. And I said, if you jump off that stage, you're able to fall on your face. I said, I got to do something exciting. So I'm thinking to myself, so I get my guitar, pull it off, and jump off the stage. And I felt like the gymnast. I hit it. And a woman sitting next to my wife tells her, your husband's a hot mess. So I've got a shirt now that says the Hot Mess Express. I'm going to, on January 24th, Dr. Patrick Wu, CEO, president of Moffitt Cancer, has a band called The Remissions, and we're going to play at ukulele, and I'm going to have the lint rollers there, and we're going to play. So I'm going to play with Dr. Wu, and we're going to be doing checks on cancer there within there. You're going to be going to learn about the opportunities, because today's world, if you have cancer, you shouldn't be afraid. There's a chance. I'm an 11-year survivor of prostate cancer. I've been involved with the Moffitt Prostate Cancer Collaboration Board for 20 years. I understood early detection. Men do a terrible job of just getting blood work, where women do a great job with breast cancer. So I'm here to tell people that you can't be afraid. In 4 weeks, 4 months after my, 3 months after my procedure, a brachytherapy procedure where I have a prostate, I ran 4 marathons over 6 weeks.
Wow.
3 days after my first procedure, and there was 2 procedures, I ran 3 miles. You have to challenge yourself. You have to live life. And I've run with the Bulls twice in Pamplona.
How was that?
It was fun. I ended up on the Today Show with the Bulls hitting me, and it was fun. It's energizing. Maybe not smart, but you have to live life. You can't be afraid. You have to be realistic what your capability is. So I hate marathons, but I've run 24, Run for Cancer for Children. And my daughter, Andrea, she went to run with me. We were going to do 4, and she's only run 1 5K. And we took the medals where we gave them to children at the Children's Cancer Center that were coming off treatment. And when you see that smile and that child, you're giving them hope. That's the true marathon runner. So my daughter has all those qualities to be a great leader, compassionate, and somebody that hopefully will influence other young ladies, that any and all dreams are possible.
That's awesome. And what is your advice for her that you give her for, like, what is the non-negotiable that is your family style for for her generation and and your nephew's generation, and then also what's going to evolve?
Do not lower the quality of the products. Do not try to save a penny. You try to improve the quality. It's not about just making money. It's delivering a quality product, and there's a fair price. It's like Thanksgiving. Our meal is $30 for a whole deal, where others are charging $60, $80. It's a way of saying thank you. Our children's meals are $8. It's a great meal. And so they understand that importance. When you see locals that maybe can't go out all the time, you really can't make a whole Thanksgiving dinner from beginning to end for that price at home. And that's what they have to understand, that the quality, that people trust you. When people come to celebrate a birthday, an engagement, a wedding, it's all wonderful. The most meaningful to me is when they come, can we come to celebrate the life of our father, our mother, our brother or sister? That the Columbia has been such an important part of it. Our job was well done.
That's awesome. Well, Richard, thank you. We have 3 questions that we ask everyone. So we're going to just add, they're easy and fun. We call it our lightning round. So this one's a little tricky because of all your restaurants, but so I'll say, when you're not hosting, what's your favorite restaurant in town?
It's not my restaurant.
Well, you can also tell me your favorite. I didn't know if you were going to.
My favorite restaurant is the Columbia Restaurant of Ybor City. Oh my gosh.
I knew you were going to say that. I was just thinking you could maybe give us something else too.
The problem I have is when we go out, with my wife, she just wants to be alone.
Oh.
It's very difficult. I will go out at either 3 or 4, and that runs into Palms. So I go to hole-in-wall places. I love Burns Steakhouse. I don't get out there often enough. I try to go as early as possible.
But tell us some good hole-in-the-wall places.
I eat at home.
Oh.
I love to eat at home. I love to cook. Last night I cooked a great pork roast, and that was great. Ate too much. I have too many restaurants to dine at. So yesterday I had to be at Eulalie in Columbia within an hour eating with 2 different groups. I cannot handle my schedule. I have a wonderful assistant that I made the second appointment without checking with her. So I mean, I love to go to independent restaurants.
Awesome.
I like to go some of the chains I have great respect for, and there's some that I've seen slide. And so you're looking at what people have done. Those companies are Wall Street companies. They're not caring about people. During difficult times, they'll take out that middle management. They will lower the quality in the product. You wonder what happened to business. Right. Whatever we did wrong today, we'll know 5 years later.
Right.
And that's the most important thing to me, talking to my guest. So being in my restaurant, if I don't have a lunch appointment, I don't eat lunch. I just walk. I didn't answer your question.
No, I think you did. I think you did. And what would you say is like, if you were going to get yourself fired up, especially now if you say you're in a rock band, if you're going to get yourself fired up for a big meeting or something, what would your hype song be?
This is a tough question. I love music. You know, it's a song I listen to is The Windmills of Your Mind. Because that's my brain. My dad played it from when we got married. Never ending or beginning. It's always this circle going around and around. So it's a song that's emotional for me. Hip hop song. Listening to my dad playing the violin. If you go to the Columbias, every fifth song is my dad performing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, he had 4 albums. So if you're having lunch with me and I hear him playing, I'll stop talking and I listen to him, and I feel he's watching over me. And the one way or another, they suggest. So, you know, I'm sorry I can't tell you that other song. I don't know. So many are going through my mind. How can I start mentioning them? So I cannot remember the lyrics of any songs. I cannot remember the names because my brain doesn't do that.
Well, you're saying about having lunch with you, and I was lucky enough one time to have lunch with you at a Bob Clark lunch, and it was before Ukulele opened, and you invited us all, whoever wanted to come that day. That
You were there?
I was there, and you were testing ice cream at Ukulele, the vanilla ice cream, and invited us, which was possibly one of the greatest days for me. But I just thought that was such an attention to detail of.
Because my grandfather had a brother, Gustavo Hernandez. He was the third son, and he used to have tropical ice cream. He used to make ice cream on the coconut shell, and they'd stopped doing that. So I thought ice cream was really important. So I wanted to make the ice cream the best we can. So I bought 10,000 half coconut shells in India. We said, what are you going to do with 10,000? We're going to make coconut ice cream. And we went through them all in a year.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So
How do
ice
you
cream,
keep them good for a year?
well, they're dried out.
Oh, okay.
But so once use, you can't reuse them again. So they're thrown away.
Yeah.
So it was one of those big deals. Chocolate ice cream is important. You want to make the best hot chocolate, get a rich, dark chocolate ice cream, warm it slowly, and it's the best hot chocolate in the world.
Really? Oh, that's a good trick.
Yeah, it's incredible. I was thinking about last night. I wanted hot chocolate. I didn't have any chocolate ice cream at home. So I'm going to go to Ukulele today and buy some. So those little details, at Ukulele, everybody said I'd lost my mind. My wife was really, really concerned. My CFO said I'm putting the company in chance. And I think the city thinks I'm crazy. And they give me a deal. And we spent more money than I thought. But we did 4 times more business than we imagined. Do you know that's the source for the city of Tampa water, 1903, the water that my great-grandfather used to make that beer and open the Columbia restaurant? I was born 4 blocks from there on 7th Avenue. My grandparents were living with my mom on Central and 7th Avenue. It was halfway between. In 1931, when the water stopped, they used to bring in the alcohol there, and they would take it to my grandfather's house. There was a secret door in a closet. They would take it to the restaurant. And right off Waterworks, the only naval war in the Civil War was the Adela, a Union ship that shot the McKay family Southern ship, the Scottish chief. Why I say that, the Adela was my mom's name, and my grandfather would say he was the last of the Scottish chiefs. And we have Scottish in our blood. And then when I was trying to find the name Ukulele, everybody said they would never know how to say it. I came up with the idea of the U and the E, and I was there praying. And it came to me. My daughters, Lauren and Andrea, called my mother Lele, Lele. And while Ukulele was a very compassionate young lady that saved a young Spanish sailor in 1528 from being burned at the stake by the father, who wasn't cruel, the Spanish brought disease and they would kill him. I thought my mom was that person that cared. So when I go to Ukulele, I think of my mom. And when I drive back to the restaurant or drive to Ukulele, I think of my parents. I think of when I grew up there. I tried to buy that house from the DOT. They're using it as offices. The day that they are not, I pray to God they allow me to buy it. It's beautiful terrazzo floors. When you travel with me, you will hear my mind going around and telling the stories that are important. The stories of that Cuban immigrant with that courage, with a brewery, opening a saloon that went on now to be one of the probably 8 oldest family-owned restaurants consistently owned by the family and operating in the same location. You keep on moving up further because many are closing.
Right.
So that's an honor that my daughter now claims to be the 5th generation and asked for her title, 5th generation. See how many people you could say that could say the same thing here in Tampa. And I'm proud of her that she's being now appointed to the USF Board of Trustees on January 5th.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Wow. Mom, you see that? Your granddaughter did well. This journey is short, and you have to make the most out of it. That doesn't mean the most for me, but most for me is a scene that I coached football too. I coached girls track for 5 years. And when I was coaching track, why do you have to do this? Well, the Lord tells me I have to. And the young man there, nobody said he could ever be a football player. He went on to be a star at Jesuit, star at Louisville, star at Georgia Tech, to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Anthony Allen. I could tell you a story, but that's too emotional. So in the lives I've seen, I've been able to change or give hope. When I take my last breath, I knew I did everything possible. And that's, for life is no brief sort of it's a sort of a candle I'm holding brightly until I pass it on to the next generation. So that's my way I live my life.
Richard, thank you for sharing his heart, his humor, his honesty, and for reminding us that building something meaningful isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about love. And it's about having the courage to protect what matters. His family's story shaped Tampa Bay in ways most people will never fully understand, and it's been an honor to capture even a small piece of that today. And to everyone listening, if this episode reminded you of why this city is special, share it with someone who loves Tampa as much as you do. Because here in Tampa Bay, we don't just build businesses, we build legacies.